That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, everybody. Good morning. This is going to be a long day, folks. There's no way around it. This is going to be a long day, and it was a long night. So if it looks like I'm a little rough around the edges, I did not acquire much sleep last night. So welcome in. It's Christmas morning for all college football fans, unless you've already played and your team suffered a loss, then you're miserable. If you're Virginia Tech, perhaps that. So let's get into the morning show program today. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Looks like many of you have already. Give it a subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up if you approve of the content. Notifications on. You'll be alerted every time new Always Irish information drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. Audio only. Anywhere you want me, you can find me. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Call in line 312-900-8815. The phone lines are open. I don't know how many people are going to want to jump in today. If we get a larger phone bank than usual, we may have to go quicker because people want to have their voice heard on game day. I get it. Here's the deal. As we get into this, if you guys are observant, you'll see behind me a little something set up there. You got to switch out that coffee for some traditional Irish fare here. So everybody, I don't care whether it's a cold beer or some warm liquor or your coffee, whatever you want to do. But we have to start out the year with a Notre Dame branded, I might add, Guinness. That's the thing. It isn't just Guinness. Notre Dame's got their hand in everything. It's a Notre Dame brand Guinness. So drink up, everybody. It's going to be a long day. A long day. It's so good when it hits your lips. Welcome in, everybody. So here's where I'm at. I'm at the point where I almost can't think of this ball game anymore. I almost can't. It's just too much, too many months. Ever since the excitement of Marcus Freeman getting this job late November, early December, you know, that rush, that excitement, and then things settled down because you found out it was going to be Marcus. So then things kind of calmed down a little bit. And then it registered to me, oh my God, if it's Marcus, that also means that he's going into Ohio State where he played. Like back in late November, early December, these were things in our minds, in our hearts. And you just thought, wow, that's going to be a big ball game. But we have a bunch of months, you know, to think about it and to process it and all that. Those months are gone. Now it's ours. We will finally be able to get answers to so many big scale questions we've had for months. Not just about Notre Dame, but for everybody else. You're going to get a lot of answers about Ohio State and their development, all these other teams. It's just beautiful. All summer, you talk about potential. What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? Now we're going to get answers. We're actually going to have a body of work to be able to analyze, a body of work to be able to look at exactly where Notre Dame is and how far they are from elite. Or maybe they proved to everybody tonight, including me, they're closer than I thought. Can we do that? Let's go down that path. Show me we're closer than I think the roster tells me I am to being elite. Show me. It all starts tonight. And here's the big thing. Keep this in mind. As we start today, know this. Regardless of the outcome tonight, the beginning of the Freeman era is something to be celebrated. It is. It's something to be celebrated. It's going to provide us some happiness and fulfillment in ways Swamp Things era never could. So hang with it. No matter what happens. If it goes well tonight, there's nothing to hang with. Everybody's going to be full bore, and they're going to have a statue for Marcus at the first home game already outside the Rockney Gate if he wins it, right? That's the easy part. But if he loses it, a lot of this has to do with how it looks to me. I was really thinking about that. If he wins it, then the Freeman era's off to a faster start than everybody thought. Learning curve, talent's better than we thought. Get more out of them, whatever. All that might be true. But if they lose, then it becomes, what does it look like? Where are we placing that blame? There's different ways to lose a game. Are you competitive? Notre Dame plays great, but they're great athletes, make a couple more plays. That's different than if Marcus Freeman comes in there tonight and they look totally disorganized, out of sorts, not prepared, confused, all of that. Then that tells you Marcus has a bigger learning curve to get the guys ready for a season. Like little nuance like that, you're going to be able to gauge tonight. You're going to be able to see tonight. Drunk Vigo says, I'm not angry enough right now. There's still plenty of time. There's plenty of time. Can I get 5 minutes in the show without having a stroke? Hey, man, what the hell's wrong with the swamp, bro? Nothing's wrong with the swamp other than when Kelly's in it. That's the only problem. Swamps are teeming with interesting wildlife. It's just, I don't like the ones Kelly's in. Oh, man. Those swamps, and you guys are talking about Florida. I think it's wild how those pythons are wild in Florida, and you could just like go in the Everglades and hunt pythons at night. No, not interested. Not interested here. Good luck to ND from a dog fan. I appreciate having a dog fan in here. Not going to let Oregon get you today, I'm sure, right? You're not going to let that happen. Oh, man. Okay, so that's where I think I'm at with all this. I'm done asking questions. Now I'm ready to collect some answers. So today, I want to know your guys' final thoughts. Like what's your final gut feeling on all this? How you think it's going to shape up? How you think it's going to play out? Good, bad, or indifferent? Here's the thing. Nobody's giving Notre Dame a shot outside of Notre Dame people. Nobody. I almost love that at this point. Like, if it's tilted that way in the way of public perception, let it go that way hard. Let it go that way really hard. Embrace it. Like, if that's how it's going to be and everybody's betting against you and everybody's saying you're not even going to cover this massive spread for 2 top 5 teams, fine. Like, go in on that as hard as you can or want. Like, I am totally fine with that. Oh, let's hit the phones. We have a 443 first caller of the day.
Hello, John. How are you doing?
Good morning.
It's JT in Baltimore.
What's up, JT? How are you feeling this morning? What's on your mind and what's in your heart? How's it going?
All right. As I said in the chat yesterday, I got a funny feeling about this game. Notre Dame by 20. We're going to go into that horseshoe tonight, and Marcus Freeman is going to lead a pack of angry fighting Irish into that stadium. And we're going to fight like the Irish that we are. We're going to run that ball right down their throats.
Oh, man, this was the perfect first call. That is beautiful. How do you have that much energy already?
Yeah, I've been up since 6:30 this morning. I had a soccer game to watch, and it was wrong.
Oh, okay. So if Notre Dame does win this game, what's the path? Tell me how they get to that point where they're winning by a couple scores, and everybody who's betting that spread is dead wrong the other way. Tell it to me. What's the path? You can't just say it. You got to give me the path. If you're going to be that bold, give me that path.
All right, here's the path. Their offensive, we've got to pressure that quarterback. We've got to make their quarterback see ghosts out there every single time he drops back to pass. We've got to make sure their running back can't breathe in that backfield. We've got to make sure that our quarterback, Tyler Buckner, has plenty of time to find his targets. And the receiving core, our receivers got to show up and show out today. We've got a whole lot of injuries in that receiving room. I don't have to tell you that. And we've got these receivers that got to show up today. Baby Gronk, Michael Mayer, has got to play the game of his life today. And of course, the running back. Oh man, that running back room. We've got to run it down their throats all game long. And the blocking has got to be superb, like I know it's going to be.
I'm telling you, I appreciate your confidence. This is some supreme Irish confidence first thing in the morning at 9, 10 a.m. I needed that. I love that. I needed that. You got it all planned out. So what's the plan for today? You stress out all day, or you just take it easy and then turn it on right when it starts? What's the plan?
The plan is to essentially watch some other games today. I might watch a Maryland game at noon, but I haven't decided which noon game I'm watching. 3:30, there's only really one clear game to put on, and that's Oregon, Georgia, and Atlanta.
Yep, that should be a good one too. So I don't know. This is going to be interesting. So what would your reaction be if Notre Dame plays a good game and falls short on the road against a top 2 team? Do you think that's enough to maintain Notre Dame's credibility? You know, you're not getting mocked in the media for it. Like, where would you fall if we play pretty decent but fall short? How would you feel about that?
I won't get mocked in the media if we lose, even if it is close. We're Notre Dame. We're used to that.
Yep, that's for sure. Yep, but this is the beginning of a new era, and I think it's going to be a great one, an exciting one for Notre Dame. It might take Marcus a couple years to get things exactly where he wants them and to learn how to be a head coach comfortably. But this is it, regardless of what happens tonight. That's my biggest takeaway. It's the beginning of an exciting era that I think we're all going to enjoy and we all deserve.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you on that, John. And to answer that question, personally speaking, if we just come up short, couple plays here or there, I'm not going to be that upset personally, but I know the media's going to clown us if we lose, even if it's by 1 point.
Yeah, that's the way it goes when you're Notre Dame, and you know that we're used to that. So, but I think our boys are going to hang in there tonight. I don't know if they could get it done and pull off the W, but I expect them to come ready to play. And I think you're going to see a team with a different mindset and mental preparation under Marcus. And I'm ready for that change. I'm fully open to it. And I'm embracing letting emotion be a part of the Notre Dame game plan again, naturally. I'm all for it. I miss it, and I love it.
Thank you very much for having me on here, John. And shout out to the soccer team for clutching a 3-2 win on Monday against Michigan State.
There you go. That's a good shout out. And thank you for the call. Perfect call, first one in the morning. I love that energy. Enjoy the ball game and call again. Thank you. That's a lot of energy right there, folks. Talking about Notre Dame winning by 20. Here's what I don't get. I got to say this. Here's what I don't understand, folks. All I've been saying is I and the Notre Dame people respect Ohio State. I don't have anybody in my immediate circle of media or social media or people doing blogging or podcasting or YouTubing in this niche. I don't know anybody like that is crapping on Ohio State or saying that they're not really good or their offense isn't something to be taken seriously and to worry about. I don't know anyone saying that. I don't. But then the first chat here when I logged in this morning was, you know, you guys running your mouths, you're going to get beat tonight. All I'm saying is that Ohio State's really good and Notre Dame has to play great to beat them. And then it's like, oh, you're talking crap. Like, it doesn't matter what I say. I could say they're really, really good. I hope Notre Dame can hang in there. And then it's like, oh, you're running your mouth saying that we're good, you know, you're going to win. No, I'm not. Like, they want to make a fight when there really isn't a fight. We know you're good. We just hope we are too. We know you're good. We just hope we are too. And I don't see how that's offensive, but some of these people don't like it. They don't like it. Oh, man. I admit saying we're going to win by 20 is a bit ballsy, but geez. Here we go. That's the angle there. Keep cracking CJ. I mean, I'm assuming to do that legally, Mike. As long as it's legal, then that's totally fine and seems like a good plan. TB is going to be a wizard. You might need him to be a wizard. He might have to be a wizard. So you need to hope he's a wizard. And we talked about this yesterday on the program as well with Buckner. He's going to need to make a lot of plays with his legs for Notre Dame to be in this game and ultimately win this game. He is going to have to. I do not think that's an option. In this game, he's going to have to. If you started with Cal or you started with Marshall, no big deal. No big deal. You don't need Buckner to carry that load. Hand the ball off. Know you're going to be able to block enough to beat those teams and save Buckner, say, for week 3 or 4 if an Ohio State type game was then. It being right away, you do not have that luxury. Buckner's going to have to be heavily involved with his legs all of this game. To open things up and make things happen, that's going to happen. So he just needs to be smart when he's doing this to make sure that he's not banging his head or taking extra shots we can't afford him to take. But he's going to have to take some risk, and he's going to have to put himself out there, and he's going to have to make some moves with his legs. There's just no way around it. No way around it. Here we go. Here's my Ohio State person, forgetting we have the best O-line in football, and that's Ohio State. Here's the thing about that is that that's not true. That's the only problem. Everything else you said, I agree with. But other than the fact that that's not true, no. I did an interview with the Ohio State YouTuber a couple days ago, and he goes, I got to be honest, the offensive line has a lot of talent, but they haven't gelled yet. I haven't seen it yet. I have some question marks. There's some young guys, and now you're saying you have the best line in football overnight already? I don't believe that. That matchup, hey, we're going to get the answer to this, Kent. We're going to get the answer to this, and we're going to see tonight whether Ohio State's offensive line can hold back Notre Dame's defensive front or not. And then Notre Dame causes disruption a la the Michigan path to being in the game late or beating Ohio State. So we're going to find out, but I'm forgetting you have the best O-line in football. I just don't think that's true at all. I don't think that's a proven fact, and I don't see it that way at all. In fact, I see your line being one of the questions that's going to determine this game and an unknown entity at this point. 219.
Good morning, John.
You're on the air, my friend. How are the nerves this morning? How are we feeling?
I have some nerves, I'll be honest. But I have a feeling, though, at least compared to as what you call swamp thing, we are going to play with high energy tonight. If we get beat, it won't be because we're not competing. We will not play just to keep the game close or not get blown out. I think we're going to come out playing like our hair's on fire.
Yeah, and that is such a big deal to me. And it's just, I can't quantify it, but it's a big deal to me. And I never, ever... Kelly did a lot of good things. I'm not saying he didn't, but the one thing I didn't ever approve of was the way he gets the team ready mentally and emotionally to go into a football war. And we just were behind before we even got started because we weren't matching the intensity of the guys we were going against. That can end tonight. Some of the roster issues have to be worked on, but getting the guys in the right mind space, that's Marcus's job now. So I do expect that. I expect them to come ready to go.
Yes, well, and I figured I'll get you fired up here. Our one favorite, Desmond Howard, says if we lose tonight, our playoff hopes are ruined. I disagree.
It depends what the loss looks like. If it's a competitive, close loss to the number 2 team in the country, and then Notre Dame wins all their other games, they're going to be in the same spot they are with one loss every year, waiting at the end for certain things to break for them to get in. Am I seeing that wrong? That's exactly how I see it.
I agree with you 100%.
Or is the idea that if Notre Dame loses this game, then that means they're going to lose multiple more and then they're out? Like, I could take that mentally two different ways. But if Notre Dame plays the number 2 team close at their place at night and then runs the table, how they're going to be right in it with one loss, waiting for things to break.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what's your plan for the day? Sit around and stress out, go do some yard work? Like what? The other thing is that 11 o'clock window, I am not in the mood to watch Michigan blow out a junior high team all afternoon while I'm sitting here all nervous. I'm not looking forward to that.
No, I mean, I'm planning to watch some football. I'm with you on that one. Michigan has the first four games of the year at home, which, like you said before on one of your prior shows, their fans will be going crazy like they're
going to
be going.
And it's Colorado State, it's UConn, it's Hawaii. Like, I mean, it's bad. Their non-conference is a total joke. And I just think they schedule it in that way because, they figure nobody's going to notice, get those few wins and keep it moving. But they don't play a real team till, I believe, the second week of October. Iowa, they literally have like a 6-week warm-up period. And Iowa's the first real program they play, and it's not till mid-October. It's a joke.
Oh, that's an absolute joke. And
since we talked last, anything changed in your mind? Like you're probably like me, tossing and turning all night. Anything in your mind you woke up with a little different today, or a gut feeling, or something else that's jumping out to you we haven't hit yet?
Well, there's kind of a thing I'm talking about. I mean, obviously, with Buckner, we can use the read option a lot better because he's actually a threat to run. Where with Cohen, he wasn't going to outrun Grandma and Grandpa.
Right, and in this game, you need Buckner to do that with his legs. It's not an option; you need it.
Correct. And one thing that could work is with a read option play call. Ohio State has to respect the fact that he can run. And if he comes out of that faking it and where he decides to go back to pass, there could be a receiver that could break open and we could hit a big play on that.
Right. Yep. And I'm interested to see how Reese is going to build this out. I know that when you're going in this environment with a relatively unproven quarterback, you're gonna want to tend to run the ball and establish that, take pressure off him. I expect Notre Dame to try that, and how much they can do it is going to dictate what this game's going to look like offensively for Notre Dame. If they can get some push, it opens everything they want to do up. If they can't, that's how this ends up looking like all of the big-time ball games we were used to seeing, and that script will play out. So can Notre Dame win those battles up front? They're going to have to. They're just going to have to. There's no other path in this ball game if you want to win.
Oh, there's no doubt. We have to be able to win the battle of the trenches, win the line of scrimmage. One thing, I'll get your thoughts on this. How big would it be for us to win the turnover battle?
I mean, obviously that's huge in every single football game. It's the oldest trope in the book. But when you have very little margin of error, the way I think Notre Dame's going to have tonight, then it's even doubly important because Notre Dame cannot give away possessions. And if they could steal any, they don't even have to score points to make it worth it if you could steal a possession. If you eat up 5 minutes of clock, that helps. If you get our defense off the field for 5 minutes so they could take a breather, that helps. So all of that matters. And I think it's imperative. Notre Dame cannot get off to a slow start. That's another way this snowballs away from you. Let that crowd get into it. No. So you gotta survive that initial rush of adrenaline and excitement and all that in this environment. Survive that, let it calm down, settle in, and then play your game and get physical.
That's where Swamp Thing was not good.
Absolutely correct.
And I know you said you'll be at the Cal game in a couple weeks. Are you on campus the Friday before the game, the day before the game.
For Cal, I'll just drive over from the Chicago area on Saturday morning. Same for Stanford. Clemson's the one where I'm going to have a house and be in for the whole weekend. So I will be there Friday for Clemson.
Okay. Yeah, I think you do a great job in your show, and I mean, I'd love to be able to meet you at those games this year, John.
For sure, man. I will. I'll put down your number here on my notepad, and I'll reach out to you at some point, and we'll see what's up.
Yeah, I didn't sleep well last night, and it doesn't sound like you did either.
I just toss and turn, man. I have so much in my head rolling around, and it's like a little kid. It's excitement of what's under the Christmas tree, but it's like you don't know if you're going to like your gift. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to put it. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I mean,
it's wild.
I'm with you that during the bowl game, you can't really count that as a Freeman coach game because there was just so much going on.
It was so bizarre. The timing of it wasn't a typical turnaround. Attention was divided. The staff was, half of them are looking for other jobs instead of bowl prepping or not giving it all. Like, it was all bizarre. The timing was bizarre, and I'm willing to give him a clean slate to a certain extent on that. It's just a rough 1-2 punch. When that bowl game is your first appearance and now this is number 2, that's about as rough of a dynamic as you can have to enter it. But I believe that I just think it'll be worth it. Notre Dame's going to end up in a good spot through all this. So thank you, my friend. We got a lot of callers today. I'm going to let some other people hop on here. But I appreciate it. Call again Monday. We're going to have to break down what we see.
That sounds great. Let's go Irish, John.
Let's go Irish. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. Take care, my friend.
You too.
Oh, man, that's a good caller. Always a lot of energy. Oh, here we go. Been watching John for about 2 months. Great show, but he is too biased, being too realistic. If Patterson doesn't play, you're dead. Your D-line's not that good, and speed and talent kills. I got to tell you, this is amazing, folks. Now I somehow, after 6 years of being the one in this fan base that's the glass half empty guy, now Kent comes in here. John's done the full switch, and now I'm too positive. I can't believe it. I don't know how my role in this fan base has changed so much that I went from glass half empty to sunshine and rainbows Notre Dame guy. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is what's happened to my reputation. 773, you're on the air on game day. Maybe if I can hit the button. 773, you're on the air. That's an Illinois number. You're in Chicago somewhere, right?
JKZ ND4, Henry here. How we doing?
What's going on, Henry? How you feeling today?
Oh boy, just like you said, it's like Christmas morning.
Oh man!
Any first game of the year, whether you're playing Purdue like Brian Kelly in 2010 or a little guy, you're fired up to see what your team looks like. It's a whole nother level when you've already got a good team. You got a brand new head man with a ton of momentum. And oh, by the way, you're playing in the shoe against Ohio State #2 and a Heisman candidate quarterback. Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, there's just a lot that's amplifying this ball game. And it's justified given the dynamics. I'm just wondering how the reaction's going to be, whether it's good, bad, or somewhere in the middle. I'm really interested to see,
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, listen, at some point, this team, whether it's right out of the gate and they're down 14-0, which you just said is probably the worst scenario, they're going to get punched in the mouth. It's guaranteed. Or they go up early and all of a sudden there's a turnover and it's now close. I mean, they are going to face adversity, whether it's right out of the gate, whether it's before the first half, or it's at the end of the game and we got a close game. And I'm excited to see how this team responds to it. I mean, from an outsider, if you're not an ND fan, just looking at this game, at Ohio State, Heisman candidate, those receivers, what they did to a good Utah game or Utah team in that last game, some good returning starters versus an ND team, brand new quarterback, new head coach. I mean, I'm betting as an outsider now, I'm betting that line. I'm taking Ohio State minus the 16. I'm taking Ohio State over the team total 37.5. But then you look at as an ND fan that's followed this, and tip of the cap to Brian Kelly now, maybe my final one. We got some talent now. Starting up front, those two big boys, Alt, and Fisher
Yep.
with he stand. I think we can set the tone up front. We got 3 running backs, dynamic running backs. I'm interested to see what we can do at wide receiver. Can Styles be the man? We
Has
certainly
to
know
be.
what we got.
Yeah, he's got to be the number one, like the dude, the alpha. Everybody knows it. Like he's got to be that this year.
Exactly.
And he's young, but he's capable, and we need it. So he needs to ascend into that role, and everybody needs to know it.
Yeah, I mean, and then it comes down. I mean, can Buckner be the guy? I mean, he is going to see. I mean, he's going to see some looks he's never seen. You talked about it. Can he make plays with his feet? But ultimately, he's got to make plays with his arm.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. You were running through kind of the dynamics and some of them offensively. Let me ask this. In my tossing and turning last night, I thought of this. I was kind of baking in with Harry and some of the knowns on that offensive line, baking in the notion that they're going to come way more physical and ready to be a cohesive unit than what we saw last year when it took about half the year to get things functional. Do you think I'm overplaying my expectations of that line? I expect them to go in there and be able to do okay tonight. Am I asking too much? I know Harry's not a magician, but just the mentality and the physicality and the way he preaches the certain fundamentals, I expect them to be mean tonight. Am I expecting too much?
You might be. I think I have that same expectation. I mean, I love our line. I mean, and I love He-Stan. But I also do get flashbacks of your tweets circa 2017 when we had some boys. We had some good players up front, coached by He-Stan. And I remember some tweets from JKZ ND4.
There's always a tweet. There's always a tweet somewhere, right? There's always a tweet.
Yes, exactly.
But it always bothered me, man, because you don't get to be O-line U only against like Ball State or somewhere else or Georgia Tech or like against Stanford. You don't get to boast about O-line U moving Stanford off the ball. I need you to be O-line U against the best teams we play. That's O-line U.
Exactly. Push these boys off the ball. Let me ask you, you think we're going to see a decent amount of 12 personnel where we have an extra big boy in there?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I just think you can't put all of this on Buckner to throw the ball to a questionable wide receiver group and that be the plan. So I expect them to do whatever they can to get creative in that running game, to make it work and give them flexibility off of it. And it's just, if they can get any push at all, it opens the world up to them. And if they can't, then it's typical Notre Dame big game ball, and it's going to be frustrating all night. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I see 12 personnel, Tommy being creative with that personnel, shifting motion, not always keeping the same tight end or a tight end on either side, creating an extra gap either on the strong side or weak side, allows those 3 running backs to find fits. If we can get any kind of push with those 5 guys, especially early, this is only going to help my Mayer and some boots, all of that receiving core, and then you can kind of relax Buckner a little bit and let him just sit into the game. And that's the only way I see us having success is being able to sense some kind of tempo up front. It doesn't have to be all like 12 personnel run, but it does just have to be move the ball early. We can't come out. It's one thing to go out three and out your first drive and get the JKZND4 tweet unacceptable right out of the gate, horrendous right out of the gate, or even worse. But
can't.
Yeah, but
I
think if we settle in, screen, boot, play action, different personnel, scheme them a little bit, keep the ball, settle in, get through that first quarter where, it's 10-10, 7-7, whatever, we're in it. I think then, then I think it's anyone's game.
Yep. And here's the other thing I've really been thinking about a lot. And again, I come back to this where if you had a normal opener against a lower level team, like a lot of folks do to work it out, I'm not saying this, in this ball game tonight, everybody knows our dudes on offense and defense. You can name them, our star players. You need those guys to be star players tonight. But if Notre Dame's going to pull this off, I also need other guys that we know only in terms of high level potential to go in there and cause damage tonight. A guy like Riley Mills on the defensive line, one of these young freshman wide receivers, guys like that, somebody in the secondary other than Brandon Joseph. Other guys are going to have to step up and contribute big tonight, and the guys that we're expecting to have to as well. Do you agree with that?
I do. I ask you a question, John. We win the game, let's say 41-38. Who are we talking about on each side of the ball as the guy that made it happen?
41-38. If Notre Dame's scoring 41 points, Tyler Buckner's got to have a good day. That's number one. There's no other way. If we're doing that, he's got to have a good day. One of the running backs goes off. If we get that point total, somebody's busting a 70-yard touchdown and a bunch of other yards, or something's happening. I would be thoroughly impressed if Notre Dame's new offense scored that many points in this environment. I would be blown away. I would put money against it. That's how much I don't see that happening. But if it did, wow, we're having a different discussion Monday if Notre Dame scores that amount, even on an Ohio State defense that takes crap for last year. But if they did that, oh my gosh, if you score that much with Buckner week 1 in the horseshoe, I'm impressed.
Who do you think we're talking about running back coming out of the game, win or lose?
You know what? Listen,
as like a
Estime. I don't know why. I have a thing for this guy. He has a different mindset than a lot of cats. After the bowl game, he put out tweets saying, this is unacceptable. People are going to know who I am next year. He has a different mindset that I relate to and I love. He shaped his body to not lose the power, but be able to move side to side. I got a feeling maybe that's a guy that busts out, and I really hope to see it.
Yeah, I love Tyree. The fact that he can go, he's put on weight. I'm excited to see him.
That'll be great too.
Yeah, I think he brings it.
And you know what else?
And I think.
Can you get if Lindsey's healthy? I would love to see him streaking down the Ohio night sky too. If he's healthy, let's get him going. He's always had so much potential. I'm just not able to see.
Yeah, and all signs point to him having a great camp. And that kid can go. I mean, we've got him the ball in unique scenarios. That change of direction flip to USC when he was a freshman, he took it to the house. I'd love to see that stuff because you get him in space and he can go.
For sure. Well, my friend, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I'm nervous, and we'll reconnect on Monday. We'll see where we're at.
Absolutely. Let's do this. Let's go have a night.
Let's do it. Let's have ourselves a night.
We'll see you, John.
Take care. Thanks for the call. Keep looking for those tweets. There'll be some flying out tonight. You know that. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. See ya.
We'll see you.
Oh, 574 coming up next on Always Irish Game Day. You're on the air, 574.
Yo, what's good, John?
What's going on? How are you today?
I'm good.
How are you feeling?
So,
What's the day going to be like for you? Where are you at with all this?
So, number one, I think we have to do what we did versus Clemson. We have to set our tone with the ball, get at least a touchdown, and then Ohio State knows that we're actually doing something.
So you say take the ball and make sure we score so they know right away we ain't playing around tonight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Clemson, that was beautiful in 20 it was a COVID year. So it was weird with the, half empty crowd and all that. But right away, first drive, Notre Dame scores touchdown, changes the tone of everything right away. If you could do that in the horseshoe, you could quiet that crowd up right away. You could sober them up. They've been drinking for 5 hours already over there. You could sober them up right away.
Okay, and the number 2 thing is we literally have to run the ball the whole time and make that clock literally go to shreds.
It's a terrific idea. It's Notre Dame's best defense in a lot of ways tonight is their offense. Keep the ball. Every minute that we have the ball is a minute they can't be scoring. So you can accomplish 2 things at once. You can score and you keep the ball out of their hands. So the question's going to be, like I talked about with the last caller, can Notre Dame's offensive line do that? Like, that's the question. Can they get the push they need to be able to rely on that tonight? Huge question, not only for this game, but the whole season.
So I think Audric Estime is probably going to be the best running back we've had in a long time. And he might stand out.
Yeah, I just think he's built a little different, and he's got a little bit of a unique mindset, and he just seems like he's always mentally prepared to do battle, and that's the kind of guy I feel comfortable with handing the ball to a bunch tonight. He just seems like he's ready to go to battle, and I love that, and I just have a good feeling about him, and I expect some good things. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the plan today? You going to relax, stress out all day, watch other games, go distract your mind? What's the plan?
I'm not sure about that one.
Not sure about that one?
It's just however the game goes.
Oh, man, we got a long day. It's going to be a long wait here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it, and enjoy your day, and hopefully Monday we're talking about some good results.
Yeah, you too.
Have a good one. Thanks for the call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're moving along. 509. Where's 509? Is that Washington? Where's 509?
Hey, John, that is Eastern Washington.
Okay, gotcha. So I was in the ballpark at least.
This is, but I'm actually coming by way of Indianapolis. This is Joe of the Fighting Irish Faithful Show.
Oh, what's up, man? Thanks for calling. How are you today?
Hey, first off, congratulations / best wishes to you with taking your show to the next level. Really, that's really awesome. So good luck and. This kind of environment, pregame call-in show is really, I think it's what the fan base needs because we've been, lighting candles at the grotto here, and now we're like, okay, let's now walk into the stadium and turn our TVs on and see what's happening. Yeah,
and I appreciate the kind words. The reality is, man, this is what I love to do. This show is like wrapped up in my identity. It's just in me, and I needed to find a way to give it more time. So I appreciate that, but this is where my heart is, so I'm going for it.
Awesome. I wanted to touch on a comment as either you or maybe someone else had mentioned at the beginning of your show today, talking about should this game be first or like third or fourth down the schedule, get some warm-up games, and then go into the shoe with kind of a better understanding. I actually have a different viewpoint. I'd rather start with this game right off the bat, and there's 2 reasons. The main reason is because we've had so much turnover on our team from new quarterback, Kyron Williams' departure, right? Brian Kelly's gone, and so Tommy Reese now has full authority of the offense. He can actually do what he wants. There's a whole lot of questions, and Ohio State has seen little film on what this team is going to be in 2022. I see that as an advantage to the Irish going into the Horseshoe. What do you think?
I think that makes really good sense. It's a double-edged sword there, and the other thing is, here's what I've really been thinking about going down that exact train of thought. What's been in my mind a lot is one of the biggest question marks that's going to determine this ball game is that Ohio State defense and how quickly they're rebuilt and organized under Jim Knowles coming in. I don't know how tight that operation is going to be week 1, but I know it's going to be a lot tighter 2 months from now. So in that way, I definitely there's no way that defense isn't going to get better week by week under Knowles. I know that because I value his, I respect his credentials, and I know how much raw talent they have.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's a fantastic defensive coordinator.
Yeah. So in that regard, you're a lot better getting them now because their defense isn't going to be any more vulnerable than it is tonight. The issue is I could use a few weeks to get our offense going and think I know what we have going, and you're just not going to have it. So there's a give and a take there. You may as well just go for it tonight. Learn what you got tonight. Know where you stack up right away.
Yeah, there's no time like the present, and to start off the game and the year this way, and let people not forget that in 2014, I believe Ohio State lost a game to Va Tech. Joke, Va Tech last night. But
I enjoyed that, by the way. I really did enjoy that. And I was just laughing. I'm like, okay, Old Dominion, but it doesn't matter that we lost. You know why? Because we have a loud rock and roll song from the early 90s at our home games. Everything's magically better. That's all I hear from those people. Yeah, that's right. It's never about winning anything that matters. It's about, look at how cool our early 90s rock show is. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'm sorry. I had to get that out. I'm good.
Because we're going to do well in the conference. Yeah, exactly. No,
yeah.
You're 100% right. And
that's all I ever hear about with them. It's never football. It's that stupid entrance.
Right.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's all about Metallica getting, making up for the money they lost during Napster or something.
Yeah, and the other part of that is all those college kids, they have no idea who Metallica is. They weren't even born yet when that song came out. When that song was
Does rock even exist anymore? Yeah.
It was like early 90s. There's no way those guys were even alive. They're going to all call their parents like, what is Metallica? What is this loud music? No. Anyways,
let Grandpappy tell you about the music he used to listen to.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. No, let me ask this, though. Let's bring this back home. If you're Tommy Rees and Marcus Freeman, how are you setting up this offense to put Buckner in the best position to succeed tonight, knowing outside at wide receiver we have some unknowns? How would you set this up to put him in a position to succeed, not get his brains knocked off, and help move the ball and score points? How would you set it up?
Yeah, they need Notre Dame and Tommy Rees and the offense need to go for a kill shot early in the game. They need to come out, not slinging it, Mike Leach style, but they need to be aggressive. They need to throw one deep. You've got fast people like Styles and Lindsey. Engage them early, take some of the heat off of Mayer to open him up in space, but they need to run the football. The key to beating this team, and everyone's talking about this, but the numbers don't lie. Both Oregon last year and Michigan put over 200 plus yards on the ground, and that kills time, that keeps our defense off the field to rest against the powerful Ohio State offense. We need to go for some kill shots, control the ball, and drive, and pound with running the ball. And someone like Estime, who you just talked about earlier, who's going to have a breakout year, use that. And again, Ohio State has no film on him, so they don't know what's coming.
Yeah, and you know what I do like? I feel pretty good about the offensive line. Obviously, if Patterson was 100% healthy, I feel even better. But here's what I like. Mm-hmm. I like these running backs because I think they can each contribute, and they have overlapping but some differing skill sets as well. Tyree, Diggs,
Agreed.
Estime, I love them all in slightly different roles. And I think that comes in useful because you don't have that redundancy. So you could do different things with these guys. And I want Reese, everybody tells me, excuse me, you're the genius. You're the next NFL brainchild, all of this. Get creative.
Yeah, prove it to me now. Show me.
You need it tonight. You need it. You know you're at a little bit of a talent deficiency compared to them and question marks. You need it. I need him to get creative and come up with something to find an angle to take advantage of what you can. And it's time for him to step up, and you need it tonight.
Do you see Tommy Reese putting 2 running backs in at the same time with Buckner?
Yes. I do, and I also see a lot of more multiple tight end sets as well. While they work out that wide receiver situation, I definitely see that. And you could do some creative things off of it, but you got to be able to block it all up. And I don't want to get ahead of myself by assuming we will, but I have to think they're going to be able to hold their own tonight decently, right? I'm going to be bitterly disappointed if they can't. Bitterly.
Well, and my hope is that if Notre Dame comes out slinging it, throws a couple of deep shots, now that forces Jim Knowles and their secondary to go into like a nickel or a dime package, right? They take a linebacker out, put a DB in to, cover downfield. Notre Dame sees that adjustment, and then we counter by doing a shift to a double tight or something, where Mayer was out wide earlier. Now he's back inside, and now we run a Boise State, shift kind of situation, and then we run it, and now their personnel is now mismatched for that kind of play.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff we need to do.
Yep. And the other,
you have to set up the kill shot first to do that.
Yep. That makes sense. And the other thing I want to see them do is everybody knows the monster that Michael Mayer is. Everybody knows the weapon that he is. Use him all that you can. And I don't necessarily mean just throwing him the ball. Ohio State's definitely aware he's our best offensive player. They're going to bracket him. They're going to have a single eye safety over the middle so he doesn't have that open spot. Do whatever you're going to do to use him, whether it's getting him the ball or using him as a decoy to move some coverage. I don't care what you do, but use your best asset however you can, any way you can.
Yep. Absolutely.
What about on the defensive?
Going to the Cal game?
I'm going to Cal, Stanford, and then Clemson. Right. So those will be my 3. Let me ask this. Defensively, what's the key to the game defensively in your opinion? There's a lot of them.
The secondary has to play well. I think Jaden Mickey is going to have a great year. I think we see him immediately tonight. We have to have smart play. Don't let anyone get burned deep. No long passes. If they get a 15-yard, 20-yard pass, I don't like it, but I'd rather have that than 70-yard bomb. So we need to be smart and prevent. But coupled with that, with a good secondary, you need a good front 7. We need the defensive line, Foskey, Amiolas, right? Those guys need to penetrate.
Yep. And you're going to give up yards. Everybody's going to give up yards against these guys. In this game, I don't care. You could give up yards, keep it 3s and not 7s at the end of it. Like this Notre Dame defense is going to be really, really good this year to the point where they're going to look a lot better the rest of the year than they're going to look tonight. Like they just are, because this is the most skilled team you're playing all year and it's week 1. You could give up yards. You're going to give up some yak. You're going to give up some plays tonight. You're going to, but you just have to keep them in front of you. And when it comes down to crunch time, 3s and not 7s, I can live with that. That might be the best you're going to do tonight, realistically, unless Notre Dame's defense is way better than I'm even thinking, and Al Golden has them ready to go, and they're ripping people's faces off, in which case I'm going to be a very happy man.
Please. Rip. We need to. CJ Stroud needs to have an all-time number of times with his butt on the ground with one of our guys walking over his body.
That's the recipe.
Tackled an all-time record high tonight.
That's the recipe. And even if you don't get to him, if you can speed him up in his processing of what's going on, that messes up everything they want to do. So One of the strengths of the Notre Dame team and program has been the defensive line. It's something we're prideful about, and we're trying to get more of a lineage of not just putting offensive linemen, but defensive guys in the draft. Let's go. Like, these guys need to step up. Now is your time to shine. Let's go.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Well, once you get to your next callers, if you're going to the Cal game, Fighting Irish Faithful, we're going to have a tailgate. So if anyone wants to hit me up, John, everyone is welcome. Just hit me up on Twitter at faithful_Irish. And we're also doing a live post game, regardless of the outcome tonight on Twitter Space. So thanks, John, and have a good one. Go Irish.
Beautiful. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Enjoy the game. Okay, moving along. We got a 202 here. 202, you're on the air.
Hey, John. How you doing? First time, long time. You can call me ND Gal.
What's up, ND Gal? Good morning. How are you?
I'm medium okay, given that it's not only Ohio State, but also a night game, which I despise.
It just means you have to worry all day. You have to stress all day about it. Like, there's no easy way. It's just lots of pacing all day.
Right? We Notre Dame people, we don't do nothing easy. Let me ask, I'm surprised. I thought for certain you'd be wearing one of those Love D green t-shirts.
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen those?
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. My blood pressure's already probably high. And you know, here's the thing that gets me about this. I do all these shows where I literally spend time putting an outline together and thinking of a philosophical angle and doing the research and connecting my points. Those shows never hit as much as the silly, dumb stuff I do, and then they go viral. Like, you make fun of Kelly dancing, boom, it goes viral. I'm yell about and it goes viral. It's always the dumbest, little, simplest things that hit. So I had a good run this week with the.
Well, maybe for Christmas, I'll get you one of these t-shirts. They're hilarious. They
say
Love D.
Gosh.
They're made by some domers. They're green, and they're perfect. And hope to see a lot of them in the stands tonight.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
They tweeted me, and they were like, we have the shirt just for you, John. And I'm like, oh, man, that's so perfect. That's beautiful. So what do you make of this, the beginning of the Freeman era, and it being against his alma mater? Like, this feels like it couldn't be bigger. Where are you at with all this?
I am an eternal optimist when it comes to my Irish. I have nightmares of the Fiesta Bowl from 2006, where we choked down about 660 yards from Ohio State. And here's what I'm going to do, John. I'll just keep this snappy. I've got 3 questions, and you can pick whichever ones you want to address. My first one is, Herbie yesterday said this Ohio State defense is, quote, one of the most complex in the country. I'm not sure I buy that, but taking that as true, if Tommy can't handle it, what is Marcus prepared to do mid-game? Because I think we could have used a little more Marcus in the bowl game when things went awry and the wheels came off the wagon. My second question, over under on how many holding non-calls on Isaiah Foskey today. I'm saying 5. I'm saying he's going to be in chokehold all game, and the ACC refs will do nothing about it. Third question, the LSU helmet. It's neither iconic
It's gold! It's gold now! It's not yellow, it's gold! How did that happen and when?
Don't talk to me like Brian Kelly is not trolling us. We would love to forget him. He can't forget us. He can't quit us to the point he's having his whatever media people create inanities about one of the ugliest football helmets in the country being iconic and also gold.
I couldn't believe it.
John. I hope you have a great day.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that. I saw that tweet. I think it was late last night. And they were putting the helmet together for people who didn't see it. And the tweet was like, look at our iconic gold helmet. And then it's a video of LSU's pea yellow helmet. And they're calling it gold. I couldn't believe it. It's got to be Kelly or one of his minions trolling us. It's not even a matter of perception. It's a matter of go get tested for color blindness. It's yellow. It's ugly yellow. And the holding.
And that's the attention to detail we've come to know and love.
Oh my God. And then the holding calls on Foskey. You are the first person that's brought that up so far. Now, are we catching a little break that we're having ACC officials and not Big Ten? Probably. But at the same time, you're about right. There will be at least 5 of those that aren't called on him because he's so good. And you know they're not going to be called at that place. I'm guessing at least 5. That sounds about right. What do you think?
I'm thinking 5. You know, we've watched this year after year our best pass rusher just get hobbled by illegal blocks, and the refs seem to enjoy it. I don't think ACC refs will be more than marginally more fair than a Big Ten ref. They'll never forgive us for not joining their little coffee clutch, and they're really not pleased, I think, at how the playoff scenario has shaped up, where we're essentially guaranteed the playoffs every year. They're not digging that at all. So we can't expect any help from them. You know what? That's the Irish way. Go Irish.
But you know what? I got to tell you, though, your first question you posed to me is by far the most difficult to answer. That's a really, really, really tough question. Like, you have all your game planning these guys are doing now. And I'm sure Freeman is, he's a defensive guy by nature and by his history, professional history. The offense is a lot more up to Reese. You bring up a great question. They have a plan, but what if they have to pivot from the plan? I don't have an answer to that. None of us have an answer to that. And that's why I need Reese to hold up to his reputation of being a boy wonder genius here, because you're going to need a pivot at some point, because Jim Knowles is good enough that he's going to pivot. So it's an adjustment off adjustments. But my problem is I don't know where we're starting at. We don't have a level because we have no body of work. That's a great question, and I don't have the answer. It's a beautiful question. It makes me uncomfortable. You ask such good question, I'm uncomfortable because I don't have a good answer.
I think Tommy is great. I think with the handcuffs off, we'll see the real Tommy. I also think, however, that as much as I adore Marcus Freeman, he's a gift. He's a treasure. We need to keep him forever. Sometimes being a leader means you say no. Sometimes being a leader means you tell someone you got to sit down, I'm taking over.
Yep.
That's the question with him. Can he do that?
Yep. And that's touchy because that's a part of the new coach feel. And he has to feel out his comfort level addressing those things, when to pipe up, when to take a back seat, when to let something play out. Like, that's all the nuance of learning the feel of being a good head coach. And Marcus is going to have to work his way through that. You would appreciate if some of those growing pains could be in the middle of wins, and so that you could grow and learn from your mistakes without catching L's. But your first question here is going to probably bother me all day. And so congratulations to you for asking the best question of the day, because I don't have a good answer to it, and it's going to go a long way to determine what's going to happen in this game. So terrific question by you, and I will give you a closing remark.
Jim Knowles, in his pregame yesterday, said something so beautiful, and it was so refreshing to hear a coach say. He said, I told my guys, something goes wrong on game day, that's on me. That's going to be my fault, not your fault. It was my job to get you ready, and if you weren't ready, that's on me. That's a coach.
Yeah, I love that. I love that approach. I love that. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you on Twitter. I see your name here, so I'll talk to you on Twitter. Thanks for the call. Great call and really good question. I don't have a good answer. We'll see if Tommy does.
Go Irish.
Take care. Go Irish. Man, that's a good call. She hit on something that I didn't have a good answer to. Oh, well. Look at what we have here. Look at what we have here. It's Nicky the Kid, Nick Shepkowski, Irish Wire, USA Today. Where are we at? What's the deal today? What's the move? I like the jersey.
Hey, we got to bust out all the stops here for Joe Montana and company. Take any of the good graces that we can get for that. It's game day. It was easiest Saturday of the year to get up for. There's just a different feel in the air. It's fall. It's everything. It's back. It's 8 hours away, 8.5 hours away. Just get me there. I mean, we got a full day of college football. There's some nice games on the slate today, unlike next week. But my God, we're here. We made it. That's worthy of celebration in itself to begin with.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day though, Nick. It's going to be a long day. It's there's just a million things running through my head. Like I'm out of sorts. Like it's just going to be a long day. Is anything crept up in your mind that we haven't already tweeted about or wrote an article about or you two talked about? Like did you wake up with anything that's sticking out to you today that you want to make sure we cover?
I mean, just the excitement of all of it. How much of just a different feel there is. Like you'd go into a game 17.5 point underdogs in previous regimes and just be like, oh my goodness, this is going to end disastrously. This is going to end awfully. And it's like, maybe I'm alone on this. Maybe I'm crazy in thinking this. There's like a quiet confidence despite being a damn near 18-point dog. Like it's just, Marcus Freeman said it from the get-go of crank that spread up as high as you can. That spread's been cranked up about as high as it can be. I don't think people saw it going to be 16, 17 points. It's past that, 17.5 last time I checked this morning. And it's like, the only people that might believe Notre Dame has a chance are the guys that are dressing and wearing a uniform in this one. And
I almost like
really
that.
All that matters. And it's like I kind of picked up on that, and maybe we laugh at ourselves 12 hours from now. But I think this is a fight tonight. I really do think this thing is going to be a heck of a game. It's not just going to be two marquee matchup on name brands. It's going to be an actual contest this evening.
Yep, I've been thinking that too. Because I think Notre Dame now has a head coach that will use and embrace the storyline and the underdog thing and let that show and use it and use that emotion and allow that to be a part of things. If the public perception is Notre Dame can't hang, let's go all the way with it, baby. Like if we're going that way, and it appears that we have gone that way, go for it. Like go for it. Back us into that wall, us against them. Like that may be the best way to build this up for Notre Dame, and then see what you could do off that. But is this game going to be? Are we making it out to be bigger than it really is, or is it as big as I feel like it is?
Well, I mean, it's the first game of a new head coach. You look at any of those really for Notre Dame coaches in recent memory, whether it was no matter who it's been. And those have ended up being huge games. Go back all the way to Lou Holtz. First game he coaches against a top 5 Michigan team, a Notre Dame team that had just underachieved and been an absolute disaster under Jerry Faust. He goes out and he almost beats a top 5 Michigan team at home to start that. It started a year of losing close contests before 2 years later they're playing and winning a national championship. I used the bigness of Bob Davie. Again, starts with the Michigan team that was fresh off of a split national championship. He comes out, the buzz was different then, or I guess that was his second year. First year was the rededication against Georgia Tech. But again, huge buzz around that, huge, all the storylines surrounding that. When Willingham came in, you had the weird Saturday night game against Maryland at Giants Stadium. And it was like, oh my God, this West Coast offense and a completely butt-kicking defense, like this is going to be there's just a new buzz whenever you have a head coach. Even the Purdue game for Kelly it's a different buzz. There's a different buzz. This one happens to be on the road. This one happens to be against a top 2, top 3 team in the country, probably the best offense in the country. Yes, all of that is included in there. That doesn't dampen any excitement. Like the new coach's excitement in itself, the state of the program the last 5 years makes it excitement in itself, and the potential of where this program has to go makes it that much more exciting. And tonight's the first step in that.
Yep. And the nice thing is while we know the monumental challenge this is tonight, there is some benefit where no matter how it goes, you are at least going to know exactly where you're at. And that is I find that helpful for a new regime. You're going to have that measuring stick and you are going to know exactly where you're at. In the areas where you can hang with the top 2 program right now, you're going to know. In the areas where you have trouble, you're going to know. That is, regardless of the outcome, I find that to be very helpful for a new staff and a new head coach finding his way.
Well, think about it. Like, okay, so you go and you lose by 25 tonight, you get run out of the building, and it's embarrassing. Is that better for you, or is just beating up on Rice or Temple or some of the other teams we see Notre Dame open with in years past? Is that better for you? I'm with you. Like, I think this team's going to be really stinking good. I don't have national title aspirations for this team. I'm not sitting here on September 3rd thinking this is a team that's going to compete for the national championship. That'd be great if I was wrong, and I'd be thrilled if they end up making the college football playoff. I do think the way the schedule sets up and the talent that's on this roster, it's not an absurd thing to think. I wouldn't necessarily bet my life on it happening. However, I'm more excited about this has the potential to go from really good to truly great. And do you evaluate that against week 1, against beating up on Rice like we've seen, against Temple, against some of the other teams we've seen early on Notre Dame's slate? Or do you do it against Ohio State and figure out this is everything we need to fix and this is what we need to address in order to get there? I think it's, even if it ends badly tonight, you walk out knowing a heck of a lot more about yourself, and that in itself is more valuable than a 42-14 win over a no-name that you're probably going to see next week.
Yep. Very good point. And that's why I've been saying we're on 2 tracks here at the exact same time. Looking at the big picture, what this is building towards with recruiting and all that, and what can we do this year with what we have. What do you think is a realistic, I'm not asking for a stat line per se, but what do you think is realistic to expect out of Tyler Buchner tonight? I personally expect a lot of flashes that get us excitement because of his raw athleticism. And I also expect some young quarterback mistakes in this environment against a physical defense with talent and a defensive coordinator everybody in the country respects. I expect to see a mixed bag. I think that's reasonable. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you almost go into it with what ended up playing out in the Virginia Tech game last year with Buchner, where that you don't win that game with him, or you don't win that game without him. Some of the throws he made, the Kevin Austin throw down the sideline, you're not winning that game. You're not coming back in that game if not for Tyler Buchner in it. You're also not winning it if he's in at the end. So I think there's going to be flashes. There's going to be excitement. There's going to be plays like, holy cow, this is why he had the buzz. This is why at one point he was a composite 5-star recruit on 247 Sports. But I think you're going to have some of that of, all right, the pressure is getting to him. All right, and when I say pressure, I'm not talking playing in front of 100,000 fans. I'm talking the pressure of, hey, this is a defensive line that's probably going to get after it a bit for Ohio State. Hey, this is a talented defense that he's playing against. That's what I mean by pressure. I'm not worried about him really in the moment looking at a crowd of 100,000 on national TV and the game of the week being too big for that. No, that's not what I mean by. I think that the fact he's playing against a really good, really talented team, that's what I mean. That's going to show itself, I think, at times too. I think it's going to be a mixed bag is the best way to describe it.
Yep, and
it's one of those of, do you want him to go out and put up a ridiculous stat line against a nobody and you walk away thinking, okay, yeah, he's great and he's unchallenged? Or do you take that and say, all right, this is going to be a huge building block, and now 6 weeks from now, he's going to be in a heck of a lot better space because of the challenges he had in week 1 at Ohio State.
Yep. It's just going to be, the intrigue is off the charts. There's so much new. I can't remember another Notre Dame start to a season with quite this much new excitement.
Well, because you factor in new head coach, and then you factor in the excitement that comes with just the state of this program is just in a lot better spot than it's been when there's been a new head coach lately.
What does your child think of the game? Ask. I want their opinion.
Well, you got one. I got one down in green all over today. He's kind of sad that it's still 8 hours until kickoff, and the other
sounds like it.
Yeah, and the other one's trying to be the composed big sister that's trying to calm him down. So there's some veteran leadership being shown in the kitchen here this morning.
Sounds like it, and not from you. Oh, God.
I guess I should go play daddy duty, but I just wanted to stop by, say hello, and I appreciate it.
Go play daddy duty.
What
Thanks
happened
for dropping
at
in.
Full City High School last night.
Later.
All righty.
See ya. All right, there's Nick and his squad. We're going to go. This is Indiana. JD, is this you?
What's up, brother? How you doing, John?
Good morning, man. JD, how are you feeling today? I know you are one of the few Notre Dame fans that might have more energy than I do. Where are you at today? What is your morning like?
Well, we're heading to Marion University right now for one of the boys I've been coaching for since 4th grade for football. So that's going to take my mind off a little bit, so that'll help. But you know me, John. I'm going $500 money line Notre Dame today, baby.
Woo!
Hey, and if I hit this, John, first round on me when we go to Vegas.
Man, that would be a big one if you hit it. Are you feeling that confident, or is this just like your Notre Dame shades on? You are going to end up coming to this conclusion no matter what. How are you coming to this conclusion?
I'm going with both. I think we got a lot to prove. I think we got the winning system to do it, and a little bit of fandom as well, and a little bit of luck. And sometime in our life, in the next couple of years or today, next year or something, we're going to beat the big team. I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm counting on it to happen tonight. We're going to get over the hump tonight.
Wow. So you got Marcus going in there week 1, year 1 to his alma mater, knocking them off and sending the Freeman era into the atmosphere right away. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah. And now, again, if we were playing Ohio State in October, I'm not making this bet. If we're, there's a lot to go into with being the first game, and everybody's kind of got those, things they got to work on, figure out things. There's a lot of things that can happen in the first game, and we've seen that with what Ohio State team is going to show up. The team that, barely beats somebody, or is it the Ohio State that beats people by 50? Is it the Notre Dame team of the first half of the Oklahoma State game, or is it the Notre Dame the second half of Oklahoma State? So I'm counting on the Ohio State team that played Michigan last year and the Notre Dame first half of the Oklahoma State game.
Man, that's a lot to ask. What are you expecting out of Tyler Buckner in this hostile environment? What do you think he can realistically get done tonight and not get the hell beat out of him?
Okay, good one. I think Ohio State knows we're going to run the ball. I don't think they're that dumb. They know we're going to run the ball, so I think they're going to pack it in. So what I think we need to do is a lot of quick passes and then get Buckner on the move on the outside. And if he sees a hole, boom, he takes off. If not, a little dump off pass, and then we try to hit him long a couple, later on. But I think we need to get him on the move, and so let him see the field. So if there's an opening, he can go. But I think a lot of quick passes need to be happening today, and a lot of runs, and going on 2. I know that sounds kind of like old school stuff, but going to 2, and I know the crowd's crazy, but that D line that's going to be right up in their grill, they're going to be able to hear that count still. And just try to catch them off guard a little bit.
Offensively, everybody knows Notre Dame's going to want to run the ball. And Jim Knowles and their defensive priority, first and foremost, is going to be to stop the run. That makes perfect sense against any team, even more so against Notre Dame when you know that's what they're going to want to do with an inexperienced quarterback and all those reasons. I think Notre Dame's going to need to take some risks and open things up. Fake a couple of those runs and then try and get Lindsey behind this defense to space them and spread them out. I'm fine with Notre Dame taking some risks in this game. I think they're going to need to. And I'm fine with it because it would be a difference from the Kelly era where I feel like he played scared in these games, not to lose by a lot rather than to go win them. I would respect Notre Dame going in this game trying to win it. Even if it didn't work out, I'd respect that they at least went for it. What do you think about that aggressive approach?
Oh, yeah. And John, I live in Purdue country because I'm in Lafayette. So I try to go to some Purdue games because I get free tickets from work. And you watch Jeff Brohm when he first started coaching. It was trick play after trick play after trick play. because he had nothing to lose. Well, Notre Dame could do the same thing today. We can come out there and just hit them with, a reverse and then, a pass here. I mean, go big. Like you said, everybody, ESPN, everybody's counting us out. We're not expected to win. Why not go all in with everything? Try anything. Try it out. What's the worst that can happen?
And I'm not saying to be reckless with it, but I'm saying to pick your spots to try some things to get a little bit out of this than what you normally would in a very conservative game plan against a much lesser opponent. So I'm not saying to get wild, but pick your spots to do a couple things here because I think you just might need it. So what else are you going to do today? Other than you're going to that game, you're going to be able to watch Michigan at all, or are you going to skip that today?
I'm going to skip that game today and just literally, I think the only game I'm going to watch today is Notre Dame, Ohio State, because I'm just
too worked up. Yeah.
I'll be here most of the day. And I'll get too worked up that I'll be here. I'll talk to them after the game, spend a little time with them, get back on the road and get home and just mindset for Notre Dame and Ohio State. Cause watching another college game is just going to even make me more nervous and anxiety, just thinking of, okay, this could be us, or that's going to happen to us and this play, or this could happen here. And, but I think our biggest thing to victory today is we got a Peyton Manning, Ohio State. How you beat Peyton Manning in the old days, you kept them off the field. We keep Ohio State off the field offense, we're going to win this game. Give me 7-minute drives. I don't care if we pass it, run it, throw it behind her back. I don't care what we do. Just run 7 minutes off the clock, score a touchdown, and we will win this game.
Fantastic. JD, thanks, man. Safe travels and enjoy the game tonight. And I'll see you and your family in a couple weeks at Notre Dame.
Appreciate you, brother. We'll see you then.
Take care. Have a good night. Seriously, Kent. I don't understand Kent. Dude, you're in a Notre Dame pregame show. Kent, you can't act like you're surprised people on a Notre Dame program like Notre Dame and want to find a way for them to win. You're on a Notre Dame live stream, Kent. Kent, you're on the Notre Dame pregame show. I don't understand this. This is like Kent, this is like me going to an Ohio State pregame show and being like, I don't understand why everybody in here likes Ohio State and is trying to find a way for them to succeed. You're in a Notre Dame show. If you want an Ohio State show, go find an Ohio State show. And then everybody will say what you're saying. Jeez, I appreciate you, Kent, but you can't get offended that people in a Notre Dame show are pro Notre Dame. You just don't get to do that. Oh, geez. 818 California, I believe. 818, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey, John. It's Rodney here. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Rodney? Good morning. How are you feeling, and where are you at in your mind and heart on this massive, monumental morning in Notre Dame football history?
John, I will say this. I am so happy that college football is back today. I just feel joy in the air. Now, tomorrow morning, it could be a different story.
Yeah.
I certainly hope not. I hope you and I are, at the very least, man, I said 27-21 yesterday. Notre Dame has the ball at the end, but they can't quite get it done. That would be the best scenario outside of winning. God dang, John, I just hope it's not. I hope Ohio State isn't. I just hope they aren't as good as I think they're going to be eventually as the year goes on. And you know, we may come in like a house of fire. Marcus may have us ready to go, and it may not be enough. But there's something in my bones that tell me this game is going to be a lot closer than the experts think.
Now, wait a second. No, you hold on. You brought up something I've really been struggling with in my mind, and you just brought it up, and I'm glad you did because it was literally on my bullet points. So you're right with me on the wavelength. So that might be scary. You might want to get your head checked, but. Here's where I'm going with this. I think Notre Dame people, Notre Dame fans, some of them wrapped up in the emotion of whatever tonight's going to look like or not look like, are going to have trouble separating out the pieces you just brought up to me, which was it's possible and reasonable that Marcus could do all the right things, have them in the right mind space and ready to go, and it still doesn't go well tonight because of roster deficiencies from before or whatever reason. That's where I see the trouble within Notre Dame fans. Where do you draw that line of like how much, if it goes sideways, how much of it is on Marcus being a first-time guy versus he has them ready and in shape and ran a good camp. We just don't have the horses. That's where I think your philosophical issue comes in of how do you look at this? Is it horses versus preparation or a blend? I think that's an interesting storyline to this entire evening. Did I lose you?
Just for a second, but I just caught you at the end. Yes, John, I agree. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some players that could become household names for Notre Dame after today if they play like we think they're capable. You brought him up earlier. Braden Lindsey on the outside. I am waiting for that guy to break free. And Chris Tyree. Those two with that kind of speed, they could really equalize this game. But there's going to be two other names I'm going to throw out there too. Riley Mills and Isaiah Foskey on the end are going to be huge factors tonight for us. Because if they play like I think they're capable of playing, this could be a lot closer. I mean, this could be because their rush on the passer and also neutralizing the outside run. I think it's imperative Notre Dame tries to keep. I mean, obviously you're always taught to try to to square everything into the middle of the field. But this is really an important task for them tonight. They have to make sure to make Ohio State play the game they're not used to playing. Even if it means allow them to complete passes, but make them be 6-7 yard passes. Make them run up the middle, not around you. That's what I think is very key. And there's two players I wanted to ask you about, John, in terms of their status for today's game. I'm a little confused. Jared Patterson and Logan Diggs. Are they part of the rotation tonight, or you think that they're still questionable?
I think they're both. I tried to look some of this up, and it looks to me, maybe somebody in the chat will tell us otherwise, but I think they're both going to play and try. I just think it's a lot easier on the running back end of it to spread those carries around. That's a lot easier than it is if you have to do something else with Patterson's spot on the line. But I think they're both going to try. I don't know. Like, is 70% of Patterson better than 100% of the backup? Like, that's a calculation I don't know. But from what I understand, they're both going to try. I just think it's a lot easier with the running back one to rotate guys in than the offensive line. That's the latest I know, unless there's news I don't know about.
Man, I just keep coming back to what I just thought of before, and that is this could be a real big breakout game for both Lindsey and Tyree if they're capable of what I think they are. But that's the other thing. We haven't even talked really. I haven't heard anybody talk about special teams. We got a new kicker this year.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
All right, John, I tell you what, I'm going to let you go, man. But yeah, my day is going to be, I'm going to watch I'm going to go to the gym.
Rodney, thanks a lot, Rodney. You get me all worked up about special teams and then hang up on me. What a jerk, because you know what that's going to do to me. Oh, John.
Right, let's stay on a couple more minutes then. I'll tell you what, because you just hit on something I haven't really thought much about either. All right, so what are your take on special teams? Let me hear it.
It has to be good. Like, you're bringing in this new special teams guy, and all I heard is he's one of the most well-respected special teams guys as coaches in the country. But then you got all new everything, all new position kickers everywhere. It's got to be good. And if it isn't good, here's the other thing. If it isn't good, meaning in camp, you don't think you could trust these guys to make these field goals. If that's happening in camp, I definitely don't feel good about the odds of them making it tonight. Which means if you know that it's iffy, when you're in these parts of the field, you need to be prepared to have two plays on 3rd and 4th down to get those yards and not kick a field goal you're going to miss. So some of this is I'm open to them being great tonight, but if they're not, and if they know they have an issue, that changes your approach offensively. You get in that 35, 40-yard line, you need two plays on 3rd and 4th down. That's how I look at it. But It's got to be good tonight. You have no margin for error to make a dumb special teams play tonight. None. Zero. None.
Hey, if there's anything that he brings to our special teams that I hope is a dramatic improvement, with the exception of the Tyree run against Wisconsin last year, we have been pretty much dismal in the return game.
Yep, let's get it going.
And if that can change in a hurry, you talk about a way to flip the game. When you're talking about like these comparisons of their receivers against our D-backs and, blah, 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 and C.J. Stroud, all-world player. Man, you can equalize that in a real hurry with a couple of returns. Hey, man, let's wake up the echoes. Come on, Rocket. Where are you, buddy?
That's what I'm talking about.
Where are you, buddy?
Rodney, have a good one. Thanks for the call. Call Monday morning. We'll break it down. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Sure will, buddy. All right. Take care, John.
Take care, man. We're going to go to 9. Who we got here? 740, you're on the air.
Okay, first of all, 740 is the area code that surrounds Columbus. So,
oh boy.
I want to let you know, I think that 17.5 points is garbage. And here's why I think it's going to be a far closer game. It may even go either way. So a lot of the stuff has already been brought up about the running game and all that. But I also I think it's unfair to compare last year's defensive stats with this year's. They cleaned house, and Ohio State was never out-athleted on defense all year. They were out-schemed and out-coached. But my worry that Notre Dame might actually do some things here is, has the scheme caught up yet? And if that's the case, advantage Ohio State. If not, Notre Dame will give us some problems with time of possession and things like that. That's already been brought up. Love your stable of running backs. But another thing that a lot of folks haven't brought up yet is Ohio State's offensive line. Most of those guys will be in the NFL someday. However, having played in the offensive line in college, I know how important it is that an offensive line gets synced up and works as one person. And even though you're only replacing 2 guys and one of those has had a lot of playing time, you have guys that are learning new positions. And you guys have a linebacker that's a tackling machine, and maybe even an Aiden Hutchinson. We'll see how it plays out. Defensive end. And for a first game to figure out some of those kinks, Notre Dame does have a chance. I'm not one of these wild-eyed, crazy, whatever. We play the game, and I think eventually Ohio State's perimeter game might wind up being too much at the end. But I'll tell you what, when you guys are saying you can win and all that, you're not whistling in the dark. This is going to be a tussle.
Yeah, and there's always inherent randomness to week 1 built in the mix here. I know from the Notre Dame side, I'd feel better about this game week 1 than if it was 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road and Ohio State has longer to groove that offensive line you're talking about and to fine-tune the new look defense and all that. The one thing I expect tonight, more than anything else, this defense, I think Knowles is going to obviously try and stop the run first and foremost, but he's going to throw the sink at Notre Dame's young quarterback. I think he's going to confuse him, have disguises, delays. I think he's going to throw everything at him and see if he'll cough the ball right up to you guys. I do. I think he's going to go after that kid.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And another situation that I'm thinking about too is, another caller brought in, bringing up the nickel defense and all this other stuff. We have some athletes in the secondary that can double as linebackers, and they can cover deep downfield. You got Sonny Styles and Hickman and, even Tanner McAllister. Those guys are hybrid, and they can keep up with anybody and play the run. So I'm interested to see how that defense keeps up.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I just think, You have a lot of knowns, but a lot of unknowns with both of these clubs. No doubt more unknowns on the Notre Dame end with the new coach, first-time quarterback, new staff. That's a lot of big picture new stuff. But even for Ohio State, this is just everybody just can't wait to see what you're working with. The offseason's so long. We just want to have a place to start to know where we're all starting at, I guess.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And another caller brought up special teams. Just to let you know, our kicker who missed, I think, one kick last year is back. And we had a freshman Aussie punter who did very well his first time playing football. And because I'm kind of a nerd about this stuff, both of our long snappers are back. So we're too deep with long snappers.
There you go. So you got that covered.
Yeah, we got that covered. But I'm just thinking, I just think it's going to be a closer game than what people think. But if the line gels, y'all are in trouble.
Yeah, I could see that. And, the way I look at it, this is a really succinct way to put it. Notre Dame can and could win this game. Meanwhile, Ohio State probably should. That's kind of big picture after all these months where I've come down to is Notre Dame could, but I think Ohio State probably should, just based on where their roster is and where their program's at, where Notre Dame's trying to get to. I think that's perfectly fair, don't you?
I do. But I also don't think that, we get a lot of predictions here in Columbus, Ohio State 35-7 or, 42-20 and stuff like that. And, if our side, like I said, our new defense has come together and our offensive line is gelled, I don't even see it that way. I'm thinking more like a 28-14, 31-14 if our stuff comes together. Because another intangible people aren't talking about is Marcus Freeman's his ability to motivate.
Yep.
I've been watching Marcus Freeman since he played for the Buckeyes.
And I'm telling you, man,
he was a good hire.
That is something that means a lot to us because it was something Kelly was very bad at. Kelly never figured that out, how to get the guys up for a big game, and we would come out flat or timid. That is like one of the number one complaints Notre Dame people had is we did not match the emotion of the other team in these big games. And we just can't wait to see somebody who values the emotion that makes college football why we all love it.
Yeah, you are exactly right. Make a college football fun again.
That's what I'm talking about. So are you going to go to the game if you're local? Or are you just going to relax and watch at home? What are you going to do?
I'm going to watch at home. I've been to so many Ohio State games, and I'm going to have to miss this one. But go Bucks! But I hope the Irish have a good season too. I think Northern football in general. I think we got to step up our game to take on, and finally shut up the SEC. Frankly.
Yep. And that is one of the big, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the biggest things I love about this game is that it's not only a big game between two big brands, but they're Northern Midwestern brands. And I really like that being the focal point tonight for all of us. So enjoy the game. And I really appreciate your call and very fair and level-headed. Call back anytime. Love it.
Appreciate you. Go Bucks.
Enjoy your day. Take care. I mean, I'm not going to say go Bucks with this guy, but geez. 937, you're on the air.
Yes. Hey, just calling. I'm also a Buckeye fan. I called you a little earlier about the mass times earlier in the week.
Oh, yeah. I really appreciate that, by the way.
Great.
I appreciate that, by the way. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said earlier in the week, if you want to go to church, there's a mass across the street, I think probably around 5-ish. And it's a Newman Center there. And if you want to go tomorrow, there's a really nice older church down in downtown Columbus called St. Patrick. So there you go.
That's perfect for us. Well, we should fill that place up, whether they're happy or sad. Fill it up either way.
There you go. Yeah. A couple of thoughts. You said special teams. For the Buckeyes, I think one person that hasn't been talked about because he's young is Emeka Egbuka. He's a real burner, and I think he was the number one receiver, but I believe he's going to be returning punts and kickoffs. So that's one guy you might want to look out for on the Ohio State side. And then as far as what I'm seeing for Notre Dame today, I'm in the Dayton area, so we're about 50 to 60 miles west of Columbus, and it's raining here. So that should be music to your ears, because I think the weather is the great equalizer, right? So
now I thought it looked like, was that rain supposed to clear out early evening, or do we expect that to be a little bit of an issue come game time? Because I thought that weather was supposed to clear out. What are we dealing with?
It might clear out, but I'll be honest, they get it wrong all the time. So my guess is that it will be at least damp if it's not raining.
Interesting.
That's my thought.
Interesting.
So I think that's a great equalizer, especially if it does rain. And then, I just think it's a great show. Love listening to you. Don't blame the refs. That's the one thing. My grandfather, he's a big Notre Dame fan, but I don't think Notre Dame has lost the game since before Newt Rockney.
The refs stole them all, right? Yeah. But listen, they're not even Big Ten refs, so I can't even really go down that path because I believe it's an ACC crew, right?
Yeah, well, but the other thing, I was watching the Purdue Penn State game the other night, and I can't believe the calls that they make now are just so terrible. Like the guy going in for a hit, and they call it a targeting, and the guy barely hits them. I mean, it's just,
right.
And then there was another one, a roughing the passer call. I'm like, you got to be kidding me? He was literally just throwing the ball, and just because he hits them low, they call. You can't hit anybody anywhere. So I guess that's a good question for you. If something like that happens on the defense for Notre Dame, and I can kind of give you my thoughts on our side, but where's your lowest depth, I guess? Would it be, I mean, I'm not sure. Like if somebody gets kicked out of the game, where would be the biggest mismatch then?
I mean, defensively, I think Notre Dame's got pretty decent depth in the front seven. And I think they have a good rotation they can use on the defensive line. Okay. I actually feel like linebacker, they have a rotation they're comfortable with. The secondary is always a worry for Notre Dame people. It always has been an issue my whole life. That makes me nervous. Brandon Joseph is an All-American. He's the captain of that defense back there. Even without injuries, I'm worried about what else is going to happen in that secondary. It could be all fine, but I can't bank on that till I see that it's fine, if that makes sense.
Okay. I would say the same thing for the Buckeyes. If one of the corners gets a targeting, then I think the guy behind him or the guy that switches over that actually starts playing might end up being a liability, because that's the lowest scholarship spot that they have. I think they have like only 6 guys on scholarship at corner.
Interesting.
So I think as far as so I would say.
But now here's the difference, though.
That nobody's thinking about.
But here's the difference, though. Let's go down this path and say that we both end up a little bit vulnerable on the back end. Well, I still think that favors Ohio State because I know your offense is a lot more proven than what ours is in the passing game. So if it comes down to that weakness, it favors you guys big time because I trust what you have offensively to take advantage of that much more than I do Tyler Buckner in a questionable wide receiver room. So I don't know, but I'm interested to see it. It's going to be interesting. Are you going to go to the game, watch at home? What's the plan?
No, I'm actually going to a relative. So half my family is Notre Dame fans and half my family is Ohio State fans. And we're going to
that's going to be interesting tonight.
He bought a 10-foot projector screen he's putting out, and we're all bringing lawn chairs. But I'll be honest, this game is actually way bigger than what people think. I know the guys over on the Bigger 10. I don't know if you ever heard of that show.
Yeah, I know. I know, Steve.
There's hardly any hype behind this game. I don't know what he's talking about. in my town, Centerville, AJ Hawk and Mike Nugent are coming down, and they're doing a huge projector screen in downtown Centerville and showing up, and they're bringing beer trucks, and I've never heard of that. So this game's got so much hype, it's insane.
Yep, it's going to be a big deal. And so hope everybody stays healthy, hope for a great game, and then feel free to give me a call back Monday. We'll talk about what happened.
Sure, have a good one.
You too.
Bye,
Thanks
guys.
for the call. Take care. I'm not going with that Go Buckeyes, but I do thank you for the call. Jacob Sailor, $5. You need to make a t-shirt that says you don't own the. That's actually a good idea. I'm going to add it to the list for the Shopify store I'm building out that's going to be put in YouTube. So I'm working on a Shopify store with a bunch of new merch. You're going to be able to sync it into YouTube so it'll all be right on the screen. It's going to be perfect. Let's go back to the phone lines. Jack Sacco, famous Notre Dame graduate on the line. What's up, Jack?
John, I have very good breaking news for all Notre Dame fans.
What's that?
Brian Kelly will not be the head coach at Notre Dame tonight.
It's a big deal.
So that means
it's a big deal.
Because that means we won't be going in there frightened, afraid, timid, shy, unprepared, and all that great stuff that the Swamp Man like to bring to games. It's not a business trip. It's a football. It's a college football game, and I think we have the right man at the right job. It's his first game. I don't count the bowl game as being a Marcus Freeman game, but this is his first game in his first year. But I think we're going to have a great. I'm looking for. I mean, I don't know that we'll win. I mean, we may not, but I think that we'll have a great energy. I have my sources, quote unquote, tell me that we're in much better shape physically and emotionally than we have been in a long time. And so I'm looking forward to improvement and a good, solid team effort. Can Notre Dame win? Well, back in my day, stretches a long time ago, but these are the type of games Notre Dame lived on. But will Notre Dame win tonight? I don't know. But I tell you what, I think I'll be happy if we show that we're a good team and we make an improvement and we're on the right road back. And I think we'll be no matter how we look tonight, I think we'll be a much better team by the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to see what happens tonight. I'm just very I think I tweeted this, this last week or so. This is the first time in a decade that I've been really excited about Notre Dame and about the football program, because every year it's hard obviously not to be excited about the upcoming football season, but every year I knew there would be a massive, humiliating blowout. And, that could happen this year, but I just think that we're a different personality. We're a different team. We have a different, and like I said, the good news, we have a different coach, different mindset. And I'm looking forward to seeing what are your thoughts?
I'm really wondering how you measure and just how valuable the new vibe is under Marcus Freeman, embracing that emotion, no business trips, coming in there ready for battle instead of being timid and weak. And I'm wondering how much that can come into play week one. Freeman can't fix all those Kelly roster holes for this game, but what he can do is start to change the way these guys prepare for battle. And I'm very interested to see if we could get that part done tonight. If I could tell they're coming out and it looks different than it did under Kelly in these big moments.
Exactly. And the other thing is things happen in football games. Sometimes things go your way. I'm actually predicting, I don't know why I'm predicting this, but I guess it's more hoping that Notre Dame will get a couple of turnovers tonight. But, Notre Dame's likely to turn the ball over at some point. And one of the things I noticed under some coaches, especially Kelly, was that when bad things happen, and they do happen during the game, they happen for all teams and for all great coaches, bad things happen during the game. what happens to the team at that point? And under Kelly, it seemed like they just completely collapsed. Now I know I'm talking a lot about Kelly, but I kind of like complaining about Kelly, even though he's not our coach. But I'm looking forward to getting the Freeman era started tonight, and to just focusing on the greatness that can be Marcus Freeman. So like I said, something bad will happen, I'm sure, but how will the team respond to that? And I think that shows mental toughness, and that's what winners are made of. So we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight.
Yep, I think regardless of the outcome in this game, the future is bright for Notre Dame, and that's something to celebrate. And I know that's going to be hard for Notre Dame people to process emotionally if things go rough tonight for any reason. But the bigger picture, this entire thing tonight, is the fact that the Freeman era is beginning, and it's going to be damn good and damn exciting. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel of the Freeman era that didn't exist under the Kelly era because Kelly wouldn't allow it to exist. And that hope is invaluable. That hope is why Notre Dame fans are more excited for this opener than ones in the last few years. This newness breeds hope, and it's founded in Freeman doing things the right way. That's how I feel, and I just hope I see that reflected tonight, Jack.
Yeah, and I know people who have met Marcus Freeman, talked to him. I know people who know him pretty well at this point, and to a person, they all say, "This is a Notre Dame man." This is yeah, he went to Ohio State, but this is a guy who gets it, who understands it, who has the right mindset, and who's a disciplinarian, and who goes in with a warrior mentality. So you got to love that, and we'll see what happens. But I'm very hopeful. Once again, will we win? That would be awesome. But even if we don't, if we look good, I don't know if people remember. I don't think you do. But the first Lou Holtz year, we lost. Notre Dame lost 5 or 6 games that year, 4 or 5. I don't know. We lost several games, but we looked better. We looked a lot better than we had the years before that under Jerry Faust. So, can we look better? Can we look like a different team? And if so, will we improve over the year? Win or lose this game, don't count Notre Dame out for the rest of the year. So, I'm hoping we'll win. I'm always thinking we'll win because why would I think otherwise? Notre Dame is supposed to be about champions. That's what we're all supposed to be about. And I don't really subscribe to the idea of we should win this game or we should lose this game. I always think we should win because that's the way I was raised. But
that's because you're a winner, Jack. That's because you're a winner, Jack. Plain and simple.
Well, you gotta have that. You gotta want to win.
Well, if you don't believe you can win, why would anybody else?
Exactly. You got to believe it. You can't be frightened. Frightened people don't accomplish much.
Well,
lazy people
but Jack, you just hit it. You just said it. The famous Lou Holtz speech. You got to believe, and you just said his exact words. You got to believe, and I believe that Marcus is going to have those guys believing they can believe in a way that wasn't even possible under the old guy.
Yeah, I believe that during once again, let me just go ahead and complain one more time about whatever his name was that went to LSU. I believe that if they threw a bottle at the Notre Dame bus or the crowd was a little bit raucous, then he would completely fold and didn't know what to do. I don't think that will happen with Marcus Freeman. I don't think that will happen with this Notre Dame team. Win or lose, you got to be. You know what? You might not win, but you can still be a champion. In the long run. And there are two different words because they mean two different things. And so we still got to have the championship mindset.
And I think that I'm hoping that Marcus Freeman brings that. Like I say, I'm excited about what we have. I'm excited about who we are now. And I'm hoping that Marcus Freeman and the Notre Dame football team will validate that belief.
Yep.
We're going to see in a few hours.
And the other thing, Jack, you and I have talked about this off air too. It's a dual track, right? You realize that whatever you see tonight out of Notre Dame is just the first step in what's going to be a long-term implementation of Marcus Freeman's vision of this program.
That's right.
And tonight's just the first step. And so the better it looks, the shorter that journey is from here to where we want to be. But
that's right.
Jack, this guy is building it the right way. And I just believe that. I feel that. And it feels really, really good to go into a Notre Dame season feeling like I'm fully on board with the vision of those running the program. That's very important, Jack. I went through a bunch of these years being like, I want Notre Dame to be good again, but I don't really agree with the way Kelly's doing it. You always had that friction. Now I don't have it. I feel like we're all playing on the same team, and it's very refreshing.
Yeah. It was for me. There was always a dread that there was going to be a humiliating blowout, and guess what? There was every year, at least one.
Every year, there was. That's not even exaggerating it. There was one every year.
Every year, I documented it. I went and looked them up, and every year there was something that was completely humiliating, and even I don't know, having to come back against Toledo or whoever it was. That was humiliating.
Yeah. No, that needs to be over, though. But that's all over, and there are Notre Dame is too good of a program for too long the last 5 years to ever get blown out anymore. That is one thing that needs to end. I need that to end. Like, you can lose a game here and there, but it can't be blowouts like Kelly. That needs to be over right away, and that needs to start tonight, where you win the game or you lose, but everybody leaves going, man, Notre Dame's tough. That's how I need it to be tonight. Those are the only two outcomes.
That's what it's about.
Those are the only two outcomes that are acceptable. Notre Dame wins, or it's a hard-fought battle, and everybody leaves going, both these teams are damn good teams.
And that's the championship mindset.
That's it. That's what we got to see, Jack. So, Jack, I appreciate you calling. I know you have your day lined up. I hope you enjoy the game, and don't stress too much the next handful of hours.
There'll be a little bit of stress. I have a lot of other work I need to attend to, non-game related. But
distract yourself for a while. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, John, congratulations on your show. It's incredible. I'm very proud of you. And let's continue to build everything and go Irish. Let's go.
I appreciate it. Have a good one, Jack. I'm sure we'll talk later. Have a good one.
Okay. Thanks, man. Okay, bye.
See ya. I got to answer a question that was in the chats here from earlier. Somebody said, where in the world did you get this shirt that I have on? I got it last week at the bookstore, at the Notre Dame bookstore, but I got to tell you, not cheap. Not cheap at all. And I normally would never, ever pay what they're asking for this stupid golf shirt, but the colors had to have it. I was like D-Bob and Rudy. I was in this surplus store and I saw the shirt and I said, it's got to be yours. I couldn't say no. So they have one section in the bookstore now with all the colorful stuff. So anybody who wants off-color Notre Dame stuff, like not the typical, they put them way in the back. And somebody with my unique personality shops back there. So I grabbed this, but it is not cheap because it is Under Armour and it is very overpriced. Tonight, close ball game, closer than the experts think. I'm not sure Notre Dame can get it over the top, but I expect Notre Dame to compete in this ball game, and I'll be bitterly disappointed if they do not. This is going to be wild, but the biggest part of it, everyone, is the beginning of the Freeman era. Appreciate it. This is going to be good, you guys. This is going to be good. There's more high-end potential and meat on this bone than there was before. And the other thing is, this guy's so genuine and so nice and so heartfelt. Everybody's in his corner. We want him to succeed. We're going to support him. we're going to get there. For the rest of today, enjoy the day. Don't stress out. Have a drink. Go cook out. Go sit outside. Don't even watch the Michigan game. Get some peace in your life before this season kicks off. Here we go, guys. This is what we've waited for, the beginning of the Freeman era. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really, really, really appreciate it. There is no show without you guys. So thank you for being here. Go Irish. We'll revisit this Monday morning, and we'll see what we think. You guys, everybody, take care. God bless. Go Irish.